In the name of God, the Merciful, the Compassionate.
Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 25, narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Apostle was asked, "What is the best deed?" He replied, "To believe in Allah and His Apostle." The questioner then asked, "What is the next?" He replied, "To participate in jihad in Allah's cause." The questioner again asked, "What is the next?" He replied, "To perform Hajj Mubrur, which is accepted by Allah and is performed with the intention of seeking Allah's pleasure only and not to show off and without committing a sin and in accordance with the tradition of Prophet." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 26. Narrated Saad. Allah's Apostle distributed zakat amongst a group of people while I was sitting there, but Allah's Apostle left a man who I thought the best of the lot. I asked, "O Allah's Apostle, why have you left that person? By Allah, I regard him as a faithful believer." The Prophet commented, "Or merely a Muslim." I remained quiet for a while, but could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him, and then asked Allah's Apostle, "Why have you left so and so?" By Allah, he is a faithful believer. The Prophet again said, "Or merely a Muslim." I could not help repeating my question because of what I knew about him. Then the Prophet said, "O Saad, I gave to a person while another is dearer to me, for fear that he might be thrown on his face in the fire by Allah." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 27. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. A person asked Allah's Apostle, "What sort of deeds in or what qualities of Islam are good?" He replied, "To feed the poor and greet those whom you know and those whom you don't know." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 28. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "I was shown the hellfire, and that the majority of its dwellers were women who were ungrateful." It was asked, "Do they believe in Allah?" He replied, "They are ungrateful to their husband and are ungrateful for the favor and the good done to them. If you have always been good to one of them and then she sees something in you, she will say, 'I have never received any good from you.'" Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 29. Narrated al-Marur. At Ar-Rabada, I met Abu Dhar, who was wearing a cloak, and his slaves too was wearing a similar one. I asked about the reason for it. He replied, "I abused a person by calling his mother with bad names. The Prophet said to me, 'O Abu Dhar, did you abuse him by calling his mother with bad names? You still have some characteristic of ignorance. Your slaves are your brothers and Allah has put them under your command. So whoever has a brother under his command should feed him of what he eats and dress him what he wears. Do not ask them to do things beyond their capacity, and if you do so, then help them." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 30. Narrated Al-Ahnaf bin Qais. While I was going to help this man, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abu Bakar met me and asked, "Where are you going?" I replied, "I am going to help that person." He said, "Go back, for I have heard Allah's Apostle saying, 'When two Muslims fight each other with their swords, both the murderer as well as murdered will go to hellfire.'" I said, "O Allah's Apostle, it is all right for the murderer, but what about the murdered one?" Allah's Apostle replied, "He surely had intention to kill his companion." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 31. Narrated Abdullah. When the following verses was revealed, "It is those who believe and confuse not to their belief with wrong, worshipping others besides Allah," the companions of Allah's Apostle asked, "Who is amongst us who had not done injustice?" Allah revealed, "No doubt, joining others in worship with Allah is a great injustice indeed." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 32, narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "The signs of a hypocrite are three. Number 1. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. Number 2. Whenever he promises, he always breaks it. Number 3. If you trust him, he proves to be dishonest. If you keep something as a trust with him, he will not return it." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 33, narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet said, "Whoever has the following four characteristics will be pure hypocrite, and whoever has one of following four characteristics will have one characteristic of hypocrisy unless and until he gave it up." Number 1. Whenever he is interested, he betrays. Number 2. Whenever he speaks, he tells a lie. Number 3. Whenever he makes a covenant, he proves treacherous. Number 4. Whenever he quarrels, he behaves in a very imprudent, evil and insulting manner. Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 34, narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Apostle said, "Whoever establishes the prayer on the night of Qadr out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's reward, then all his past sin will be forgiven." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 35, narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "The person who participates in Allah's cause and nothing compels him to do so except belief in Allah and His Apostle will be recompensated by Allah either with a reward or booty, or will be admitted to paradise if he is killed in the battle as a martyr. Had I not found it difficult for my followers, then I would not remain behind any Sharia going for jihad. I would have loved to be martyred in Allah's cause, and then martyred and then made alive, and then again martyred and his cause." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 36, narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Apostle said, "Whoever establishes prayer during the night of Ramadan faithfully out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's reward, not for showing off, all his past sin will be forgiven." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 37, narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Apostle said, "Whoever observes fast during the month of Ramadan out of sincere faith and hoping to attain Allah's reward, then all his past sin will be forgiven." Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Book number 2, number 38, narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "Religion is very easy, and whoever overburden himself in his religion will not be able to continue in that way. So you should not be extremist, but try to be near to perfection and receive the good tidings that you will be rewarded, and gain strength by worshipping in the morning, the nights."